We are in the frigid cold of Canada, but today I'm getting on a plane. I'm headed to New Jersey, and I'm going to meet Ralph at WeatherWool for the first time. We've been communicating and working together for 5-6 years now, and we're finally going to meet in person. So excited to go down to New Jersey and meet the team. I'm going to miss this little one, though. No. Yeah. Okay. Better go. We finally meet the infamous Ralph.
You're in fucking New Jersey.
We'll have to bleep that out, I think.
Da-da-da-da. The showroom. It was once known as our living room, but that was years gone by.
Good morning. I'm here at the WeatherWool HQ. This is the home of Ralph and Deb, where WeatherWool operates out of. And Ralph's just bringing back the truck. We're going to load up the trailer and we're going to head down to MTL. And that is where the probably the most important part of the WeatherWool process is made. It's on the Jacquard Loom. So we're going to share that with you. Ralph just wants to be as fully transparent as possible when it comes to making video content. So we're just going to keep the camera rolling and bring you along behind the scenes on everything that I see this week and everything that I learn along the way. So I hope you enjoy it. Hold that. Okay, we're on.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Whatever you want to do is fine.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Ralph.
Good talking with you. Enjoy the walk.
I will.
Bye. Good morning, everyone. This is Ralph for WeatherWool. On the road. It is Thursday morning, March, what is today, the 17th? 16th, 2023. We're headed west on Interstate 80. Left New Jersey a little while ago. We're on our way to MTL, that's Material, Technology, and Logistics. MTL is totally key to WeatherWool fabric. MTL is a company that has a great many looms. MTL's specialty is weaving, and MTL weaves our fabric. They take yarn prepared by American Woolen in Connecticut, and they turn that yarn into grige fabric. That is fabric that has been woven, sorry about the bumps, but not yet ready for the tailors. So the weaving of our fabric is an obviously vital step, but still an intermediate step. So we're pulling up to MTL, Material Technology and Logistics, in Jessup, Pennsylvania, and we have actually been working with MTL for over 10 years now, but oddly enough, we didn't know that we were working with MTL until 2018. Reason being that many of the people who use MTL services use them as a sort of a secret weapon. MTL has capabilities that most places don't have, and a lot of the people selling the fabric that MTL makes for them don't tell their customers that MTL is the company that did the weaving. Anyhow, here we are at MTL, and it's kind of interesting that most people don't own up to working with MTL, and MTL actually doesn't even have a sign anywhere outside. There's nothing that says MTL or Material Technology and Logistics, but they've got a pretty big place here 150 or so employees, 3 shifts, and a lot of looms. Founded by my friend Mike Hillebrand, about 35 years ago. And Mike is still here. You'll see him later helping me load the trailer. He's got more spring in his step than I do, even though he's in his 70s now. So good on Mike. Okay, we're here. I think we'll clear it. So these are 30-yard pieces now, right?
30-yard pieces, yeah. There's 18 pieces here, though, so there should be over 500 yards.
All right, beautiful. That's 500 yards. We usually take around 3 yards per garment, so 160, 170 garments maybe.
Wonderful, wonderful.
That's a lot of clothing. Mike has probably handled more freight than the rest of us put together. We worked with MTL for 6 years before we ever heard MTL, because Woolrich was doing our, I guess you would say, our prime contractor. So Woolrich was doing the spinning and the finishing, and I didn't like the fabric that was coming off their looms. It didn't have the weather resistance, the performance that I wanted. And they started coming here, but they wouldn't tell me where they were going. They were just saying, well, it's another loom and we can't tell you who it is. And it was a source of frustration for me.
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating to hear these days. You know, it's just not.
They were adamant. You're not finding out who it is until they shut down U.S. operations in 2018. And then Rob Stewart said, "Okay, now I can tell you it's MTL because we're out of business here."
Yeah,
And
and you know
the
they're
industry is rather secretive. And it's not unusual, not surprising, whether it's the apparel or the upholstery. The manufacturers, they like to keep people like us in the background. And we're not visible. We don't promote ourselves. Only work with the people that we work directly with. And our customers don't want us going around them to go to their customers. And we don't do that. We would not do that.
Right, but that's, to me, that's kind of a matter of integrity. And if people don't trust you, well, that's a matter of integrity as well. And it's kind of like, if you don't trust me, then why should I trust you? But also, you know, I think even more to the point now with the American textile industry, or at least clothing industry. I was a little boy, so I'm 69 now. Go back to the early 60s, Americans wore American-made clothing. And if it was an import, it was some fancy thing from France or
Right.
Italy, like really high-end stuff. There weren't any cheap clothing, I don't think anyway, coming into the USA. We all wore American stuff. Now it's down to 3% American. And I think everybody who's left here needs to support each other. It's kind of like we're all working together.
My name's Tom Hillebrand. I am the purchasing manager here at MTL. Been at MTL for about 15 years. My father started the business about 35 years ago, so I've been coming here since I was a kid, really. So these are our warping machines. We have a few different kinds, but the whole premise here is we're taking this yarn that's on cones and trying to put it on big drums that can go into the back of the weaving machine. This is the WeatherWool warp, right?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. You're in the middle of making it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Oh, is this WeatherWool here?
This is WeatherWool. Yeah, it's coming
Whoa.
from the other side.
How exciting.
And this is called a warp drum?
Yeah, this is like the drum. And so, you know, the yarn gets pulled onto here first, and then it'll get transferred onto a warp beam, which is in the back there. And that's what goes out to the loom and goes in.
So it goes from the drum to a beam to the loom. You know, what I tell people is, this is one of those things that if you just describe it to someone, you say it can never work.
Yeah.
There's just too many ways for it to screw up.
I know. Well, you think about the way things used to be made in textiles and manufacturing, it's a head scratcher that anything ever was made. When you look at the old technology, the old looms, how somebody even came up with this in the first place, it's amazing that there's, you know, textiles have been around for hundreds or thousands of years.
So there are there's a sensor for every one of those strands of yarn.
Every strand of yarn has a sensor, yeah. So you see how there's a red light on there?
Yeah.
That would mean that that's where the yarn came from that broke.
So it's on that third level up, but on the third level there's still an
and
array
now it's off
of...
because it's all, she just tied it back up.
When I do my own trucking, if I'm going from American Woolen in Connecticut to MTL here in Jessup, Pennsylvania, this is what I'll be hauling. This is our warp yarn, but it's yarn on spools. When I go from MTL to American Woolen, then I will have greige fabric, bolts of fabric that are ready to be finished by American Woolen. So different things moving different directions. About 230 miles, around 400 kilometers one way. It's a nice ride.
In weaving, there's two parts. There's the warp, which goes in the back machine, and the weft coming into the side. And those are the two yarn directions you're using to create the fabric through different weaves. So what we're doing here is warping. We're putting the yarn on beams to go into the back of the loom for weaving. We're going to go into this row first. So this is an example of a Dobby machine. Then on a Jacquard loom, which WeatherWool is right here on this one, now this is a Jacquard. So this would be the warp, same style of warp that we saw being made. It gets tied into the loom. They tie the ends on. Each individual end is tied on to whatever was in there before it. There's a machine, it's called a knotting machine. It automatically ties the ends across. It's probably a couple hours to tie a warp in. So this is the back of the loom. These are drop wires right here. If a yarn breaks, the drop wire falls and the machine shuts down. So it's another kind of efficiency thing. So you see it's kind of set up on a rack, and then it comes into the filling feeders. So these are the two dimensions. We're getting the warp in the back and the fill coming in from the side. You don't make them pay extra for that though, right?
We pay extra to get it out. But that's what we'll talk about later. The next run we're hoping to make all from top.
Okay.
So we'll see. This is the control unit?
Yeah, this is the Jacquard head. So everything that's happening from a pattern and weaving perspective is going on inside like the computer inside here. So all that design process and weaving and everything that happens is being controlled by this. It's kind of like the brain of the machine. Yep, so we're in the inspection department. Everything we weave will come through here. We're just looking at it to make sure that the width is good and that the quality is good. We're looking for flaws, anything from weaving. All right. Anything I missed there, Kim?
Nope, you're good.
The finishing process brings it from, I guess it's 63 inches down to about 53 inches. Yeah, it would be tighter against the light than this, that's for sure. Yeah. Is this 60? I-
No, it's like 65.
Oh,
Yeah,
65?
right. Yeah, I thought it was 64 or something like that, but I know it varies a little bit. It definitely varies coming out of the finishing from anywhere from 52 to 55.
65 to 55, 52.
65 and a half.
65 and a half? So around 20% shrink, or not shrinkage, but fulling.
And that's in order to make it more dense and good for.
Right. And maybe
And
some other
softening?
stuff too.
A little softening in there, I guess, as well.
When we get to American Woolen, Giuseppe will tell us all about that. Once we had a little bit of a catastrophe with the tailors mixing up full weight and mid-weight and cutting the wrong garments and the wrong weight fabric. So now when we make the mid-weight, it has that bright stripe along the edge that the full weight does not have.
Okay, so the Weatherwool machine is a predictor of abrasion on how a fabric will work in the field.
So it's literally just creating friction.
Yep.
Rubbing
Correct,
it.
correct.
Just
And
seal on it.
there's specific poundage and the stretch and it goes across, so it's all somewhat scientific.
It's been a great pleasure. Thanks again.
you.
You guys go above and beyond the call for our minuscule business, but I hope we make it worth your while someday.
No, we love working with you. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
And
We've-
we obviously love your product as well.
Well, we've never made anything that wasn't, we've never sold anything to the public that wasn't made by you. It's this, that, Cody's wearing it as well.
Yeah.
It's all MTL. So, super work, thanks.
We're proud to display your.
And Mike, the owner even loads the truck for me.
Yeah.
And the owner's son. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
It was great seeing you.
Good seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
It's good to meet you.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye, Chrissy.
You gotta